headquarters.
Good evening and welcome to your local election headquarters. I'm Sarah Murphy.
And I'm Brian McElhatton. We want to thank you for choosing us this election night on ABC4 News at 10. Polls are closed across the country and we're watching the presidential vote come in now.
Okay, this is a look at Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, their watch parties tonight. Again, a lot to keep an eye on this evening. Both are fighting to take control of the White House. But a lot going on here in Utah as well. We are normally used to seeing numbers out by this time. As of 9:30, though, 22 of the 29 counties have wrapped up. Today, due to long lines outside polling offices, results, they've been delayed by an hour, according to Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson. In Utah County, voters in Highland saw some obstacles when ballot printers ran out of toner. Now, that caused delays, leading to other locations printing some emergency ballots. Meanwhile, in Salt Lake, hazmat crews responded to white substance workers found at a polling center. And then lines in Cache County and Washington County, they also got a bit longer as people wrapped up work and headed out to vote. Of course, a lot going on. We have team coverage from election night parties across the state. Our dedicated team of reporters, they've been closely following the campaigns, tracking their reactions to some of the latest developments. Now, that includes the races for Senate, governor, and other key items on the ballot. But first, we wanted to get everyone up to speed on the top of the ticket.
Yes, we do. First, we're checking in on Utah's vote for president. Currently, former President Donald Trump. Well, we don't have those numbers in Utah yet, obviously, like we talked about. Folks, this is going to be a theme throughout this newscast. We don't have the numbers in yet because Utah is still counting them. But this is where we stand right now here in Utah.
Okay, again, 0% and 0%. You see this. So let's put in the context of the national race now. ABC4's Jordan Tracy has been monitoring the big picture for president. Jordan, a lot going on today. What can you tell us so far?
Yeah, we're talking margins. We're talking where the map stands right now. If you look at where AP has called the race so far, even though we haven't seen those numbers, they have called Utah for former President Trump. As you look at it now, the former president has 230 electoral votes. I'm doing some math here. Georgia hasn't been called by AP. However, the Secretary of State there saying that he has an insurmountable lead. So if he were to pick up Georgia and if he were to pick up Pennsylvania, which is starting to be the trend now, he would be at 265. He would just have to pick up basically one other of the major states, and then you're calling it 270. Let's look down at the county breakdowns now. Let's talk about Pennsylvania, because that's one that we've been following all night long. And one of the trends that we've seen here when it comes to Pennsylvania, I've talked about Erie County potentially being a bellwether. Well, while Vice President Kamala Harris is winning in Erie County, it's really not doing much for her because she's not performing at the margins that President Biden did back in 2020 in places like Philadelphia County, in Allegheny County. And right now, according to the AP, with 82% of the vote in Pennsylvania already counted and tabulated, she would have to keep winning these next batches of vote by plus 17. So it's looking a little bleak there, but it's not impossible. A lot of that vote is in the Philadelphia area. She's just going to have to win a lot of it. So the Trump campaign feeling really good tonight about that. When we look at Wisconsin, the remaining vote, once again, in a heavily populated area right here in Wayne County, that's where Detroit is. That's where a lot of the outstanding vote is still currently out. However, she's been underperforming here. So former President Trump has really been performing well in Michigan. But as we talked about that path in the big math, she's going to have to pick up. The easier path is getting Pennsylvania and Michigan if she wants to win this race. Arizona still coming in now. Right now, we're seeing that the former president having a very slight lead there. And we're looking at the margins that we saw in 2020. And Vice President Harris was overperforming. Now it seems as though right on the margin there. So it's going to be a very close call in Arizona all night. But again, a lot of things are going to have to come right in these later batches of votes in Pennsylvania and Michigan, where we've traditionally seen a blue wall, but we're seeing some cracks in that blue wall tonight as the margins are just not lining up the way that the Harris campaign has hoped. However, on the flip side for former President Trump, he's seeing these margins and probably celebrating a little bit in Mar-a-Lago because it is looking good. Again, the vice president would have to win 17 points ahead in every batch that came in Pennsylvania in order to win Pennsylvania, which sounds like a tough task. But again, a lot of that vote still in Philadelphia, which takes a long time to count. Some officials saying until Friday we get an official count, but we're going to keep monitoring that situation as this race continues throughout the night, guys. Back to you.
Okay, we'll be watching it.